Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Redneck Ways. How's everybody doing out in YouTube land? Well, we're back on the model, guys. It is Sunday afternoon, and it is 10 minutes till 11 in the evening. And what a great time to work on a model right before bedtime. Everything's still in the same place where we left off last Sunday. So we're going to start. We painted our seats last week. We got those painted, and we got the inside of the interior painted. So we got quite a bit of that done. So tonight we're going to install them, get them all glued in, and see what else we need to work on and paint. Once we get it glued in, we may have time to get the steering wheel detailed, painted, and get it ready to go in. And of course, we'll get the drive or the shifter. We'll get it installed and everything. So we'll try to get all the interior done, guys, tonight. This episode's Hot Wheels car is the Knight Rider. This is actual Hot Wheels. There's Kit in his glory, and the scanners are on the front. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not. It's got the gray interior, not gray, but the tan interior, kind of like the tan that we painted our 41 Plymouth. It's got a pretty nice looking rear end underneath it. It's got the Kit hubcaps. So yeah, pretty nice looking Hot Wheels. Pretty well detailed. Here's the back of it. Alright. Tonight, guys, on our old radio program, we're going to be listening to Art Bell again. But before we listen to any Art Bell, we're going to listen to, let me get it up here. It took place 1947 on July the 8th. Old time radio. This is ABC News UFO crash in Roswell. It's looks like about a half a minute long. So we'll take a little listen to that, and then we'll go through and listen to Art Bell. I'm trying to see what we can listen to. Maybe this Major Ed, something first appearance. So we'll pick one out. This sounds good. On 1997, Art Bell, Back from the Dead. Dan Breckley. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. We'll listen to the Roswell first.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
That's been
I hope the quality is pretty good. Some of these aren't recorded or something good at all. So.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening or good morning, as the case may be, across all these many prolific time zones. From the Hawaiian and Tahitian island chain in the west, east all the way to the Caribbean.
That sounds pretty bad, guys. Let me find another one.
South into south.
These free downloads, some of them aren't recorded very well, so we're going to try another one here.
Tonight on the
the best of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, a composite show from August 7th of 1998 and September 11th, 1997 on Area 51, including one of the most interesting calls to ever occur on the show. So sit back and enjoy the best of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening, good morning perhaps, dependent on your time zone, and there are so many from the Tahitian and Hawaiian Islands out west, eastward to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, south into South America, north all the way to the pole, and worldwide on the internet, thanks to broadcast.com. This is Coast to Coast AM, and I'm Art Bell, and tonight, as promised, as waited for by many, we are going to discuss Area 51, and we're going to talk to government employees who wish to spill their guts. Should be an interesting night. Now, it has been quite some time since I have done this. In my last foray into government agents in Area 51, the satellite which transmits my voice to you supposedly lost Earth lock, which is an interesting way of suggesting that the satellite suddenly moved and no longer knew where Earth was, right in the middle of a critical call. Now, coincidence? Synchronicity? Perhaps. I've got a little bit of a lead for you. Most of you know Matt Drudge, who writes for the internet and probably annoys most of the mainstream media. I'm going to read you something that is just about to break this weekend. Now, a lot of people thought that Area 51 might have moved away, perhaps to Utah or some other location. Wrong. Secret military bases, 1,850 people now employed at Area 51, underground installations, ultra-secure manufacturing plants, secret labs that America needs to wage the Cold War, are still intact despite federal downsizing policies that have gutted many other military and civilian programs, but not Area 51, folks. The Scripps Howard News Service, according to Drudge, is set to move a pair of features on its circuits this weekend. It will say that more than 1,850 federal civilian workers are currently employed at Area 51 in the southern Nevada desert, just over the hill from me, most in well-compensated jobs at several ultra-high security facilities in and near the range. This really is one of the last big secret military bases in the U.S. It used to be that the Air Force tried to pretend
the door
that
handles
Area 51
and stuff. So.
did not exist. Actually, they still do.
Actually, I got a pen.
So who works there? Non-government military observers believe that hundreds or perhaps
I got these down at the Dollar Tree.
Workers are employed
I've got
in the desert facilities, taking daily flights from Las
and a
Vegas
gold one.
airfields
And I'm
into the
telling
base.
you, man, it's
Computer
great for
records appear
detailing.
to
And they was
confirm
only
this.
$1. They got a nice point.
Now, whatever is done at Area 51, officially designated the, quote, Nellis Air Force Bombing and Gunnery Range, end quote, on Nevada maps, is certainly still done in secret. But Scripps suggests that the base is the testing grounds for America's most secret military machines, everything from our favorite 117 stealth fighter to, get this, folks, electromagnetic pulse weapons. Now, do you remember the fellow who called my show, who was actually shot down over Area 51? Now, that might resonate. He claimed in the last frantic moments that it was an electromagnetic pulse weapon that did his aircraft in. Remember? The Wire also explores the super-secret Cheyenne Air Force and Army complex. In the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, there are 6,658 employees there. Now, how in the world can Matt Drudge,
I'll have to try to get in there with that tan and touch it up a little bit. Kind of hit off the line.
Employees in Cheyenne Mountain? What do? Cheyenne Mountain operates military communications and navigation satellites. Ostensibly, it watches for the launch of any high-altitude missile system anywhere in the world. The center also tracks more than 8,500 objects in Earth orbit to
That one did good.
warn manned space flights of possible collisions and assists the Justice Department and U.S. Customs in illegal drug interdiction programs trying to track aircraft
I need to
suspected
get
of
in here
carrying
with that brown and get this too,
Isn't that interesting?
if I can.
So, tonight, what we are going to do is to cast away all the normal news, and we are going to open these lines this night for Area 51 employees. Many of them, by the way, live very close to me. Many live in Pahrump. Many live in Las Vegas. Many of you, I'm sure, well, no doubt have things that you
Try to
would like
get
to get
this-
off your chest.
This right here painted.
Things that you have
This little-
seen and done at Area 51. Many of you who have penetrated or tried to penetrate Area 51 and seen things. And then another category as well, government employees. People who work for the government at various secret installations around the country and know things that you would like to get off your chest.
Kind of like that.
So that is going to be the business of the night. Area 51 employees and government employees who wish to sing. All of that coming directly ahead. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for the original broadcast from September 11th, 1997, when the GE-2 satellite inexplicably lost contact with the Earth, right here on the best of Coast to Coast AM.
Kind of like that. Now, gotta try to get the door handle or the armrest.
All right, now, I'm going to repeat this one more time because people are not listening tonight. Until I say otherwise, all of my lines are devoted to those of you who are either current government employees and wish to sing about whatever, any song you would wish to sing. Those of you who have been or are currently employed by Area 51, that non-existent base over the hill from me. All of my lines are devoted to that. So everybody else, sit back and listen, and let those who do fit into one of those categories get through on any of the lines. Let us begin. On the first-time caller line, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing today, Art?
I'm all right. Where are you?
I'm in Colorado,
Colorado. Oh, Colorado.
and I'm just a recent listener to your show.
Okay.
Started about 3 weeks ago. Really enjoy the stuff you talk about.
Thank you.
And what I did, I was an airborne ranger in the Army for 18 years. And one of our assignments at times were to try to penetrate the security around some of these secret bases.
Like Area 51?
Yes, exactly like Area 51.
In other words, you would be given the assignment of trying, kind of like a computer hacker tries to get into the Pentagon by their permission. You, with their
First of all,
permission,
we
would
paint
try to break in
we
and
paint the
breach their
foot.
security.
Brake
Yes,
and
this is right.
Cool.
gas pedal
How
and
did you
everything.
do?
We'll paint it flat black.
Well, we had about a 40% success rate the first time.
You've got to be kidding.
No,
That's horrible. You mean to say...
It was pretty sloppy. But
So, in other words, an enemy agent, if that's what you were, would have at least a 40% chance
of breaking in. Okay, now you got to remember, this was like 15 years ago.
Yes,
Okay, the last time we tried, which was like 5 years ago,
yes.
we were successful about 9% of the time. They've stepped up their security immensely. They have ground sensors, and you talk about your night vision scopes. Well, they got some that will probably put this one to shame.
Oh, I know.
And they really stepped it up. Now, for a base that's not there,
Area 51?
right,
Not there.
not supposed to be there, they got some amazing security measures there.
I I know. They have ground sensors. They have, as you point out, night vision. They have helicopters with infrared and heat sensing.
That's right.
And I'm, there are people that, they try, and they've made it in, a few of them. And a lot of them, of course, sit in jails.
Yeah, because it's a federal offense.
That's right. Now, there's two ways of looking at Area 51. One is that our country has a right to a really, really secret place where we develop things like the F-117, that kind of thing.
That's right. F-117, the B-1B, the B-1C.
Sure. But, I mean, all of that is now like the Model T compared to what we've got.
Exactly.
What a mix.
And then there's one other little factor, and this is where a lot of people begin to say, I want to know more, and that is, they think there's been extraterrestrial contact. They think that technology has been transferred to the U.S. government because of some kind of deal with them, and that technology is being tested at Area 51, and there is some evidence to indicate that
Best
might
thing
be
God gave us.
There's a lot of...
Call toll-free, 1-800-618.
One of them, I guess we got quite a few good things.
You cannot say that word on the air.
Okay,
that is one of the 7 deadly words the FCC doesn't like. So you saw some weird fertilizer. You saw some weird poop.
Yeah.
Just modify it a little bit. All right.
Just as soon as you ask what it might be, I mean, you're immediately taken off of any assignment you might be on and shipped to someplace like Anchorage, Alaska.
Anchorage isn't that bad. Now, Thule was not one of the favorite tourist sites. But look, let me ask you what you saw. What did you see? Can you tell us?
Well, you hear people talking about particle beam and electromagnetic beam.
That's right.
And lasers. And they say the only way you can run a powerful enough laser to take down an aircraft or maybe a missile, it would have to be, huge blocks, blocks long. And some of the things I've seen, now I can't say exactly, okay, because then I'd be in breach of a government contract. But take it from me, they're getting this technology from someplace.
All right. Even though you can't give us precise details,
yes,
you saw particle beam weapons, that sort of thing.
At least that's what I thought they was. I mean, you take something 100 yards down the range and you point a box at it, hit a button, and it explodes, okay?
And just where do you think this technology came from?
Well, I'm with you. Now, I believe that there are a lot of UFOs, ETs, whatever you want to call them, okay? I mean, I've seen some weird stuff in my life.
You're not necessarily with me because I didn't say that's where I was. I said that's what a lot of people believe.
Well,
that is an important distinction. Okay. And I think it's indeed possible. Now, as you may have heard, I had my own sighting of a triangular craft that came 150 feet over my head. Just on a night like this, when the moon was just about full, blotted out the moon, stars, this was a craft that defied gravity. Without question, and so either we have many generations of aircraft development that we know nothing about. That's a big story if we have anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity, yeah.
Or it was one of theirs.
I'm betting that it's one of theirs, because I've seen a ship something like you was talking about. I drive a truck at night, which is how I ended up listening to you.
All right, and that's also how you saw it, because most people, do you know most people never look up?
Well, when you drive at night, you tend to look at the stars quite a bit.
That's right.
And I was watching this light. I just figured it wasn't, a regular airplane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless we have figured out a way to make the G-forces negligible or the laws of physics not apply, it was going in a straight line and immediately did a 90-degree turn and was going in 90 degrees.
You know what that would do to a human being?
Yeah.
Be jellified.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, my friend. Take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
I tell you,
You're going to have to speak up a little louder.
Okay, how's this here, sir?
Much better, thank you. Where are you?
I'm not going to give my location,
All right.
but I will give you a number.
So, a number?
Mm-hmm.
You mean we would know you by a number? You don't mean your phone number?
No.
Okay, give me a number. We'll call you by number.
27.
27. Number 20. I beg your pardon?
27. 82 D4.
2782 D4.
Yes, sir.
That's a long name. 2782 D4. All right, 2782 D4. What's your story?
I am 13 years old.
13 years old?
Mm-hmm.
You're
We're gonna have
telling
to
me
touch
the
up the door
government
handles
employs
again,
people
but at least we got
13
this
years
one more
old?
coat.
Because we're the new people,
The new people?
and they teach us early. Basically, to go out and kill and destroy.
I'm
The
kind of happy
government is
with it.
teaching 13-year-olds to kill
It's so
and destroy?
hard. I'm gonna have to get a finer paintbrush.
Well, now that I ponder recent headlines, that might make some perverted sense.
Funny, I just took out a missile silo.
You took out a missile silo. Pretty ambitious for a 13-year-old.
Oh, I know. It's fun, too. And the guy
Well,
you just had on talking about the ray guns,
yeah,
he's on the money.
he is on the money, huh?
So you got the real thing.
Particle beam weapons in the hands of 13-year-olds.
You betcha. And let me tell you something. They're fun.
They're fun, and I think that's where our 13-year-old decided to bail out. Well, so for 2782 D4. There is a big full moon out there tonight, so look out. I have no idea what's ahead. Government employees, Area 51 employees who would like to get whatever it is that may be on your chest off. That's what we're going to be doing tonight on all of the lines. So if you have a song you want to sing, a story you want to tell, you pick the line, and here we are. We'll be right back. This is Coast to Coast AM.
I got glue on my fingers and just messed up all kinds of stuff.
Here's an interesting fact, but you're going to have to act now, not later. The fact reads, Art, I witnessed and observed
I could touch them
alien-type
seats up.
bodies in underground facilities in the Dayton, Ohio area. Now, I can't and won't give my name.
Some not.
There are
Sometimes
still
you're like a
live
bull in a china
beings
shop when you
kept
do this
there.
stuff.
From my understanding, they were recovered in
Things
the
just
last
don't go
2 years.
to plan.
Now, I am willing to discuss more with you at a later date. I will contact you. Well, the time is now. The date
But so
is
far, I'm not
today,
happy
and
with
you should
anything I've
fax me
done.
again with a number, and I'd be glad to give you a call. Now, and by the way, that goes for everybody else. Anybody else who cannot get through on the phones, I realize they are jammed to the gills, who has a really interesting story to tell. Be assured that if you want to fax me and give me a number, I will, well, I don't know what I'll do. I'll destroy the fax after I have talked to you so your number can get to nobody's hands. How's that? I absolutely promise your anonymity. So here we go. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello there. Well, you might not want to say where you are.
Probably not.
And do you want to say what part of the country you're in? Just generally?
Well, not really.
Are you in the country?
Yes.
All right.
I am a time travel as well.
You're a time traveler as well?
Yes, I am.
From when? From when?
Well, not too far from your future. Only about 4 months.
4 months in our future?
Yes.
Why would you be here 4 months from our future? I'm worried about that.
Well, I'm what the government called a wrangler.
A wrangler?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well,
In the Old West, I think it meant that you wrangled cows, but
it's sort of like that. There's a,
Are we the cows?
well, no.
Good.
Another animal is, though. And, a liquid is extracted from these animals for a propellant.
For a propellant?
Yes.
Precious bodily fluids extracted
and
for propellant?
it's going to open up many, many doors. This is the thing that the United States is looking for.
Except perhaps for the extractee. It's going to close some doors for the extractee, isn't it?
Yes. And that would be the weasels and the beavers. And,
do you realize how ecologically, politically incorrect that is? Do you realize how much trouble you could be in with, well, I don't know, the EPA or somebody?
look at the government. You think they're going to care about weasels or beavers?
Well, what about our president?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, a time traveler from 4 months in the future. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm just fine. You're going to have to yell at us. You're not very loud.
Okay, just the Area 51 line, right?
Well, they all are tonight. Area 51 or government employees, one of the two.
Yes, I've penetrated Area 51.
Oh, come on.
No, it's kind of a stupid story, actually. Me and some of my friends were having like a keg party up on Freedom Ridge.
Now, Freedom Ridge is an area that overlooks Area 51.
Yes.
So you were having a keg party, which means you had a bunch of beer up there, right?
A whole lot of beer.
A whole lot of beer.
Yes.
So you were totally scorched on Freedom Ridge above Area 51. Now, right away, you know this is a bad mix, right?
Not at the time I didn't, but I do now.
Mm-hmm. And so what precisely occurred?
Well, a bunch of my friends were, like, passed out, and I was still awake, so I decided to take a walk.
That's as good as I can get it with what I got,
since
guys.
crossed over into Area 51.
It don't look too bad. I wish those were a little straighter.
Yeah, I kind of stumbled over the
I just
border.
hit that with the
You
marker.
stumbled into Area 51.
Yes.
You
Shut it
staggered into Area 51.
Yes, you can say that.
Uh-huh, I just did. And they, no doubt, came and collected your butt.
Yes.
I've got
And
to
then what?
touch up that
Then
back
they
of that
took me
seat where I got
to
the
the
glue on it.
To the base.
Yes.
Now, you see,
We should be able to
normally,
put this in.
most people arrested at the perimeter or inside Area 51 are turned over to the local sheriff there and thrown in the county pokey. But you were taken to inside the area itself.
Yes, I was.
Did you happen to see anything unusual while you were there?
No, they had a hood over my head.
A hood?
Yes.
Got a potato sack over his head? What?
Mm-hmm. Were you allowed one phone call?
No.
No phone
They
calls.
told me I had no rights, that I was on protected ground, and my rights not matter to them.
So the Constitution ends where the Area 51 gate begins.
Yes.
Well, in your condition, you probably couldn't argue very hard, so what did they do with you?
Well, I remember driving through the desert because it was bumpy and stuff.
It would be bumpy.
Yes, and then we hit a paved road, and it was real smooth. Then I remember them dragging me out and taking me down several flights of stairs.
Yes.
And I was taken into a room, no windows, nothing. This is a single desk and two chairs. And there was two guards at the door, two at the back of the room,
Yes.
and two behind me.
Right?
And there was a man, I don't know if he was
We'll
like
get that to
in
dry.
charge of everything there, but he was asking me questions, why I was there, who I worked for, and all this.
Who you worked for?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you tell them, look, we just were having a kegger up here?
I guess he got the general picture when I, like, breathed on him. I bet he could get drunk off my breath.
Threw chunks all over his floor?
No.
To prove it? No?
They kept me there for about 3 days.
3 days?
Yes. They took me down to the sick bay.
Well, all right, that follows. But, I mean, surely you were cured of whatever ailed you in at least 24 hours. Why didn't they release you? And what happened during the next 2 days?
They interrogated me some more.
Uh-huh. Now, that's amazing. And then finally, what did they do? Put you in a vehicle and drive you out to the perimeter and say, get out of here?
Yes. Once I did that, they told me never to say anything. about this again.
And so, of course, now calling a national talk show, you're keeping that promise.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, by the way, were there any threats? In other words, if you talked about this whole thing, did they threaten you?
I always said, you better not talk about this, because this is a big desert.
I know it is a big desert. All right, thank you very much. There you have it. That's what can happen. There's a little example for you. If you do happen to stumble in any condition into Area 51, people will call me frequently asking about Area 51 and whether they should try and breach security up there and go see what they can see. And I tell them no. You know, you will definitely get arrested or worse. And I would imagine under severe circumstances, they probably have the old James Bond license to kill. West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hello, Art.
Hello there.
Just a good topic you got on here tonight.
Well, it's different.
It is different.
Can you add to it?
Oh, pretty good. I'm in Seattle.
Yes.
It don't matter.
And I've been in and out of Edwards and Palmdale since 1967.
Mm-hmm.
With many of the companies that work in those locations.
Oh, there's a lot that goes on at Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
And Palmdale.
Well, in 1989 and 90, I worked on that airplane that came out of Palmdale, which they only built 22 of.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of airplane, sir?
The one that radar can't see and it's supposed to be invisible.
Well, you mean the stealth?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with composite structures?
I certainly am. Composite materials.
Together?
Yeah, composite materials that don't reflect radar signals, or if they do, they reflect them away from the point of origin. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Sure, I know something about that.
On the B-2, when they put the wings to the fuselage, they have these gaps between the composite, the regular airspace, which they have to fill to get the radar signature out.
Right.
In case it's infiltrated. Well, they were making these titanium shims to put in there.
Pretty good.
And we thought that the shims were just regular, normal grade titanium. And after we did our own little testing on the bits and pieces that were laying around,
Yes.
we found out that it was a aluminum titanium composite.
Really?
Yeah, which really to this day I don't think even exists.
Aluminum titanium.
Aluminum titanium composite. That's those two metals. But here was the clinker. The bonding agent was a silk fabric, which you couldn't cut with a razor knife. It would actually dull a razor knife. You couldn't drill a hole in it.
You saw all this with your very two eyes, right?
Yeah, I had the clearance. I mean, I was eligible to see it.
How are you able to now safely talk about it without fear of, Men in Black or whatever?
I'll take my chances, but I'm pretty certain that your phone is secure tonight. And
It is. It's
and
secure.
they can't do any tracing. And I'm pretty sure over the years my phone's been bugged because of all the projects that I worked on that within the black world.
Got
Why
good in
have
place,
you
guys.
decided to talk about this? I mean, particularly about
I
specific
guess I'm going to have to
composites.
paint the backside of this too,
You're
because
saying
you can
things
kind of
I've never
see
heard
it.
before.
Well, you're talking about Area 51, and everybody
I
knows
guess
what
we'll give
goes
it a
on
coat
over
of
there.
paint.
And in my world, Area 51 doesn't exist or never existed. And
In my world, it's just over the mountain to the...
I know exactly where you are, and I know in relationship to Area 51 is.
Yes,
In your world, it exists. In my world, I don't know what you're talking about.
I see.
But this composite material came from Area 51. They were the only people who could work it. They were the only ones who could build it. And it was kept under armed guard when it traveled between the two places.
I know an attorney. This is something that eventually is going to be public, if it is not already, and it is to some degree, who is representing a number of workers at Area 51 who worked with very exotic materials and claim they got sick. Now, the government is trying very hard not to allow this lawsuit to proceed because it would open up a can of alien worms or worse at Area 51. Are you aware of that?
Well, I heard of it. NPR ran a series on that not too long ago.
Are you at all concerned that you might have been exposed to something that might make you sick?
Well, over the years, I probably have. exposed to some exotic stuff, but it's nothing. I'm still alive today, and I'm not sick, so I'm not going to worry about it.
One leg has not become shorter than the other or
No.
something.
If you keep your mouth shut, you play by their rules, you get to fly some of the strangest airplanes in the world. Work on them, look at them.
Did you get... no, wait a minute. Did you ever get to actually fly?
Well, I'm a licensed pilot,
Yes.
and we've talked before on that topic. Yes, there are some airplanes that have been flown that radar can't even see.
We gotta get the steering wheel painted, guys.
Yeah. You're aware of that
This
stuff.
will do it
What was it?
tan.
Of course I am.
Tan and
I'll
silver.
tell you, give you an example. It
We're
happened
gonna use
in the summer of
the old
the
style,
summer
not the
of
sports style,
Okay.
not the custom.
1990. We were taking off from Palmdale. Okay?
Yes.
We had two F-15s on our wingtips, and the tower cleared the two F-15s to take off. They couldn't see us. And when we were airborne, we were joined by something else and something else. And
Something else and something else.
and something else.
Undescribed.
Undescribed. And we headed out over the Pacific. Okay?
Okay.
When we got 200 miles off, Russian aircraft met us because they knew we were coming.
Russian aircraft.
Russian aircraft knew we were coming. Okay?
Now that implies... Wait a minute. That's 1990. That implies cooperation between the U.S. and the... and Russia, the
No,
Soviet...
there was no cooperation. They were just dogging us to see what we were flying.
Ah.
They knew the two F-18s and these two other aircraft and the 14s had left, and they just met up because they knew what the procedures were.
What's it like riding in an aircraft like that?
I've flown so many, Art, it's just like riding in another airplane. And there's just some weird stuff out there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
one of these days, maybe it'll all come to light.
Perhaps so. One of these days, maybe it will. All right, thanks a million.
No problem, Art.
You take care. That was as much as I could drag out of him. There is an interesting phenomenon that occurs here where I am in the desert. Now, to get my signal from here to there to you, I have what's called a KU band uplink. And we fire a very, or a relatively narrow signal from my home to GE1, General Electric Satellite, that sits up there in geosynchronous orbit 22,300 miles above Earth. And so obviously we have a signal going from here to there. We transmit a signal from my home. And we also have an awful lot of overflights here of helicopters of the black variety, of fighter aircraft that will scream over the house occasionally at a low altitude. And I have been told by more than one person that my KU band transmitter turns on their threat receivers. Now, obviously we're over friendly territory here, but turning on threat receivers of F-15s and so forth has always worried me a little bit because of some sort of automatic response.
Hopefully that'll
Some
keep
sort of
it from
harm
breaking
missile
off.
coming down my throat. I've always worried about that just a little. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, I'm on the air.
You are on the air.
Is this whine coming from your end or my end?
I beg your pardon?
Do you hear high-pitched whine on your end?
I do hear a high-pitched whine, yes.
I think I'm being traced up front, okay?
Look, you've got to always assume it's possible.
What?
That it's possible that you're being traced.
I'm not transmitting anything on this end.
Well, I'm certainly not on this end, so... anyway, say what you want to say quick so you can't...
All right, real quick before they shut me up, okay? The Greys, best theory is they originate here on Earth around the end of the Jurassic period. There's a fairly advanced civilization of humans, close enough to humans to breed, but the offspring is usually sterile. And they was particularly made to go out to the planet, explore, and then come back, because nobody wanted to take a 200,000 year trip. And at the end of the Jurassic period, they started getting a little bit overpopulated.
Yes?
And started making some genetically engineering plants, specifically peanuts and other lettuces, began like that. And it spread further, and they started taking nitrogen out of the air, decreasing the atmospheric pressure,
Yes?
which a lot of things called the dinosaurs start dying off. And that did another thing with corn.
So you're saying they, the Greys, actually killed the dinosaurs?
Yes, because they're reducing the atmospheric pressure.
Well, I guess that would do it, wouldn't it?
Yes, a lot of the dinosaurs, if you look at the dinosaurs...
Well, listen, why are you worried they're tracing your call anyway?
What did you say?
I said, why are you worried they're tracing your call?
Well, I got the line right here on my line.
I know, but I mean, why are you worried?
Well...
You haven't said anything yet that they would care about. We'll be right back. This frequently, but let me read you yet another fax I have, and I will try making a call, all right? Art, I worked at Area 51 for 15 years and would like to talk to you about what really went on there. I worked in base ops. I'm also involved in the class action suit against the government. I can be reached tonight at the he gives me a number, which, by the way, is a Nevada number, a work number. Please, he says, don't give out my number, which I certainly will not do, but I am now going to try to place a call to this gentleman, and we'll see if there's anything to it. Nothing like radio on the fly, huh? Now, let's see if we can get him. Hold on here. We'll try. Anything's worth a shot here. This may go nowhere at all, but his name is Fred, or he calls himself Fred. We'll see if he's really at the number he suggests he's at.
ABC?
Hello there.
Yeah?
Hello, ABC. Fred?
Yep.
This is Art Bell.
How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing just fine. I got a fax from you that says you worked at Area 51 for 15 years?
That's correct. So, what can I help you out with, sir? I'll be the first to sort of contradict.
All right, let me start out by asking you, on your fax, and when you just now answered the phone, you said ABC.
Yeah, please, we need to not discuss anything further about trying to identify me by where I was, all right?
All right?
Yeah, this is another place I'm at now, so
that's fine.
yeah.
All right, let's discuss your 15 years at Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what you can and can't tell us, so I'll probe and you tell me when you can't answer.
Sure.
What kind of work did you do?
I was involved in the general day-to-day operations through the base ops, scheduling, things of that nature.
Really?
Yeah. Qualifying for using the airspace of the box, of course, the Nellis Air Force Base. Something people don't really notice about that was we actually controlled the airspace on the whole range.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. How much airspace actually is controlled above Area 51?
You know, that's difficult to say, but the box we're talking about was 10 by 10 miles by 10 miles.
Anybody familiar with aeronautic charts knows that is forbidden airspace.
Yes, so that's a fact. Yeah, anyway, when we took you have to understand, when we controlled the box, we allowed Nellis to use the range. When we were in the box, Nellis was off the range. When we were off the box, then Nellis could use the range for their red flag, things of that nature.
Okay.
And
during the years that you were at Area 51,
mm-hmm.
did you see anything that you had no rational explanation for, or that did not make sense in terms of the technology that we would have developed?
Well, I haven't been involved in some of the development of some of the projects that came out of there, so I'm not at liberty to discuss those. But nonetheless, there is a big lag time before something goes white world and when it's in development, and there's a big lag time in between the things that are spec'd out or scaled out
developed between the time that they even go from being scaled to full production, and then, of course, when they go from black to gray or black to white world. There's a lot of time involved there, so I speculate that anything that I saw during the 80s, of course, had some time on it as far as development was concerned.
Okay, well, we know, for example, the F-117 Stealth was developed there and came out and then went gray and then went white, and we all know about the F-117, saw it fly in Iraq and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what would you imagine, maybe we can talk about this hypothetically, what would you imagine would be several generations down line from the F-117?
Well, there was different prototypes involved and everything out there, but none of them as mysterious as the things that are discussed on your program. I'm here to say that there wasn't a building or a facility that was there that wasn't out of my control, and that there was nothing mysterious about what went on there.
Then why are there things that you cannot talk about?
Oh, because they're classified military hardware, and they can't be discussed. It's that simple. It's just like before the 117 went white, it was not allowed to be discussed. There's nothing extraterrestrial or anything about the development of that airplane.
I understand.
Yeah.
Are there areas of within Area 51 that are underground?
No, absolutely not. There was one facility, a small bunker out there about as big as a basketball court, if that, and it was only underground to protect the instrumentation from RF interference.
Are there 3 large hangars at Area 51?
There's one huge hangar. There are a couple of the small ones there, smaller than that, but generally speaking, the hangars are nothing bigger than what you could put a average jet fighter in, or something of that size.
All right. You're in Las Vegas, just over the hill from me. You know exactly where I am in Pahrump, right?
Oh, exactly.
Well, as we look over the hills toward Area 51 on many, many nights, we see, and it's well documented by Japanese camera crews, American camera crews, amateurs, things that rise vertically and do dances in the sky that just simply are not done by any conventional aircraft we know about.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you one thing. I've never in my life seen a vehicle which I considered otherworldly or anything like that until I did work up there. But during that particular time, there were 4 of us that were standing outside. We actually saw 5 aircraft that looked like, well, not aircraft, but say things like a star, okay, in the sky.
Like a star.
Like a star, but it was at sundown. And I figured, well, maybe this might be a satellite, for instance. But there were 5 of them, and they were sort of 3 of them were abreast, 2 of them were trailing. And they went from horizon to, say, mid-horizon or mid-vertical sky in about, maybe 15 to 20 seconds. And then we were looking at it and saying, boy, this is really something, and we've never seen anything quite like 5 satellites grouped like this. And then the 2 that were trailing did a 90-degree and went to the east.
Satellites don't do that.
And then the other 3 went directly over the southern horizon, and we all looked at each other, so we happened to have radio contact with the operations white room up there, and we contacted them and asked them to check the scope, see if anything was up, and there was nothing on the scope, so we looked at each other and said, well, that's kind of amazing. But anyway, what happened was about 30 seconds later, the 3 that went all over the south horizon came directly back and went to the north horizon, and they did that in about, like I say, 30 seconds, horizon to horizon. Absolutely no sound. Of course, the satellites don't do that either. So
no, they do not.
That was a very unusual thing I saw out of my entire 15 years of being there, and the rest of the stuff I would have to say was just highly classified military projects that needn't to be discussed in this forum. But there were absolutely no
otherworldly.
Were you required, when you left your employment there, to sign
Oh yes, a debriefing statement.
a debriefing statement? And were you to violate that?
Would I or have I?
No. I said, were you to violate it, to finish the sentence, what would be the repercussions?
I think it was a 10-year, 10,000, something like that was the bottom line on it. 10 years in jail, $10,000 fine max for divulging, things like that. But anyway, things are happening right now, and I've got to go back to do some work here for these people.
All right, just one last quick thing. You said you're involved in a suit against the government right now, and in fact, there is a group suing the government, claiming they were injured working with materials or by the government burning materials at Area 51, exotic materials.
Yes. And that's in fact part of our thing. We just filed recently to go into the Supreme Court. We got our date, we filed our paperwork. We're waiting for a date now to go to the Supreme Court.
What do you think your chances are?
I don't know. It's always difficult to say, what might happen in a situation like that. But from all the aspects of what I've learned, we might stand a good chance if we get into that venue.
On the tree,
Well, as
baby.
you know, for years and years, the government, and as far as I still know, as far as I know now, it is still true. The government says there is no such area as Area 51.
Yeah, that's a big chuckle, though, isn't it, Art? If you ever been, I guess, up to the place they used to call Freedom Ridge, which became popular, right at the end of there. It was, everyone knows it's there, Yeah, it's in documents, it's on TV, things like that.
Fred, thank you.
All right, see you later, Art.
Stay out of trouble. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hello, turn off thy radio, please.
On its way down.
Good. Where are you?
I'm in Alaska.
Alaska, where?
I'm in Palmer now.
Palmer. All right. Well, I was just in Anchorage.
Yeah, I know you were. Were you born before 1953?
I was born June 17th, 1945, on Camp Lejeune in North Carolina.
Okay. The reason I ask is I grew up in Colorado. My father
wanting
worked
to break
for
off our gear shifter, which
a packaging
I put that one in.
corporation that
But
took
actually,
recycled
that's
paper
3 on the tree with
and
the
made
P6.
boxes.
Way back then?
way back then.
I didn't know we recycled that long.
We recycled years and years ago. People don't realize it. We recycled.
Okay.
Anyway, do you know what ENT is?
That would be ENT?
Yes.
No.
This is
ENT
one of the
a military
worst
base
models or
buried in the mountains
castings
in
I've ever
Colorado.
saw.
And it's
It's all
nuclear safe.
Cover of bumps.
One of those dug way deep in the
It's
ground.
just not cut
Yes.
very well.
I'm not sure, probably
A hardened site.
And the steering wheel.
in 1960,
They really don't have a
early
way
60s,
to,
maybe 61,
I guess.
62, I was
I guess it does.
a young boy,
Okay.
9, 10 years old, and my dad
They
came
said I
home
didn't think
from
it was
work
sticking or...
with a book on flying saucers.
Yeah.
Ent had brought
This is
a
always
bunch
the
of
hard
paper
part.
to
Get the
be
steering wheel
destroyed
in. Oh,
because
gosh.
they didn't want it out in the public's hands.
And your dad brought it home?
And my dad brought one home.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that, you know.
And I thumbed through this thing for months, fascinated at the hundreds and hundreds of official spaceship or UFO shots.
What have you done with all of this documentation?
I don't know what happened to the book. I'm sure that my brother looked through it. I don't know what my dad did with the book. And your show has just brought this book back to
Boy,
me.
I sure would like to lay my hands on it.
I'm telling you, it would be an amazing piece of paper. And I don't know that, if anybody else has...
Is your dad still alive?
My dad is still alive.
Why don't you go to him?
And ask him.
You're doggone right.
Yeah.
And if he still has that book, you and I need to talk privately.
Mm-hmm.
You think you could arrange that?
I will call him and ask him if...
All right, if you can lay your hands on it, you either fax me or write me or email me or get to me somehow privately, and we'll set something up, all right?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my friend. You take care. Ooh, would I like to lay my hands on that? Wouldn't that be neat? We're going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. Once again, come back and do I have no idea what. Now, don't touch that dial.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soap.
Guess we won't break that off,
And by the
guys.
way, I don't know about
We
the
got the
earlier
gear
ones.
shit
They
on
were
the
pretty
floor
good.
anyway.
But this last guy, I'll bet you he was a real thing. That's just my own call. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, Bill?
That's me.
The steering wheel in, or the shaft.
I'm the archaeologist who slipped into Area 51 last year.
Let's see if we can get the
You were
steering
the
wheel on and put the
archaeologist?
seat in, guys.
Yeah,
We're about done for this set.
Maybe I don't quite meet the criteria. I'm not a...
Oh, yes, you do. If you
Well, all
slipped
this
into
glue
Area
hardened
51,
dry.
you definitely meet the criteria.
Well, I hiked in there for 100 miles. I was in there over a week. Was so far into Area 51 I could actually see out the other side. In
Let
fact,
the paint
contemplated
cure.
doing so, south to north. And I will say this, it was the mind-boggling thing I ever did in my entire life.
Look, why, first
Let's
of
see if we
all,
can get the
did
seat
you
in first,
decide as
and
an
then we'll put the
archaeologist
steering
what
wheel
was of
in.
interest
That'd be the
in
last
Area
thing,
50
because those are so
Area 51?
aggravating sometimes.
I was following the Death Valley 49ers, a wagon train that got lost back in 1849. And
No kidding.
yeah, they left. They took a shortcut, ill-fated shortcut, as it turned out, from the Utah-Nevada border, and as fate would have it, of course, they went directly right through the center. What, of course, legions of UFO people believe is Area 51, and
So you were simply following their trail, and the trail led through Area 51.
that's correct. And I pleaded with the Air Force for several years to allow my team access to several archaeological sites. One, of course, is Papoose Lake. That's
Papoose Lake, yes.
critical archaeologically because that was the last campground of the 49ers where their cohesion failed there, and they went different directions in an attempt to escape the desert. And there are 7 known rock inscriptions from that wagon train. One of them, and out of the 7, for instance, 6 or 5 are well documented. The 6th I discovered myself near the Utah-Nevada border. The 7th lies deep in what's called Nye Canyon, which is just above Papoose Lake.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old photograph of it that I carried in there, taken in the 30s before they closed the area off, of course.
Okay, so obviously you were refused permission
Yes.
a number of times, and then at some point you decided, to hell with them, you're going in anyway?
I cast reason aside, and I admit it, and but I'm not sorry I did it. I'm sorry I didn't find the inscription. I did find evidence of the wagon train, however, and I did get within a mile of the lake bed at Papoose Lake.
Oh, my.
Now, there's no known photograph, of course, of Papoose Lake, except taken from Mount Sterling, I believe, 50-some miles away.
Yes.
There's computer-generated photographs, of
Now,
course.
did you have a camera with you?
Yes, I did. And I've got magnificent color photographs of this place. And I don't believe, I've been accused by people that have done a disservice to my country, that I've...
There
what have
it
you
is.
done for
There's
security?
What have you done?
everything pretty much
with these
installed
photographs?
for this
I've done
setting.
nothing with it. I intend...
There's probably a little
and
touch-up
I
to
have a
do
book
once
proposal
everything
with,
dries.
We'll
make it as
permanent
detailed
agency
as
in
we
New York.
possibly can.
The book will be called Forbidden Journey, and I hope to include those photographs, but I will not do so, until I am assured that they will not. And I don't...
So it's been great sitting down with you guys again on this Sunday afternoon and working on a model. I hope you guys have a great week coming. Tomorrow's Monday. Oh, sorry guys, didn't mean to kick the phone. And I hope you all have a great, safe week coming up. And until next time, guys, until we meet again, this is Redneck Ways saying see you the next time. Bye, guys.